Hi friends, it is Friday and this weekend I'm going to be trying to do Doris's mid-month book bash. The readathon happened last weekend, but I forgot that it was happening, so I didn't participate. So usually when I miss it, I just go ahead and do it the next weekend. So that's what I'm doing this weekend. These are some of the books that I'm hoping to make some progress on this weekend. Both of these are arcs that I got from the publishers, and I need to read and review them pretty soon. This month, Doris's book bash is being synchronized with the now that's what I call summer readathon, being hosted by Soggy Expat Nerd, and it goes on all month. So this weekend I'm going to try to see how many of these 9 prompts I can meet. Some of them are bookish, some of them are just fun. So these are bookish and these are fun. And we're gonna see how the weekend goes. So like I said, these are 2 of the books that I have on the go, and we're gonna be visiting my in-laws this weekend. So usually I pick a book from their bookshelves, so maybe I'll do that again. I'm also reading online Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery, and I'm savoring that. And I don't know what else. I'll pick up this weekend because it's probably going to be pretty cold. We're expecting a blizzard. I don't know if that will happen. But either way, it's just really cold. And so it feels like the perfect time to just read something that feels cozy. So maybe I'll pick up something else. And if I do, I'll tell you about it. Wow. And yes, true to form, as soon as I got here, I did pick another book from their bookshelves. So I'm going to try to read On the Road by Jack Kerouac this weekend. Maybe I'll even finish it before we leave.
Guys. Good dancing.
All fall down. Rice. So I got 2 new books recently that I wanted to share with you. First is a book that I got from the publishers, Prayers for the Stolen, a novel by Jennifer Clement. And this one is about main character living in Mexico, Guerrero, Mexico, it says, in the mountains. I haven't read many things that were set in Mexico, and I'm excited to check out this one. And the author lives in Mexico City, it says. So let's try that out. And I purchased this myself, The Portrait of a Lady by Henry James. This is one of the books on my big classics TBR this year. So I saw these Wordsworth classic editions on sale on Amazon. Well, they're not on sale, but they're pretty cheap. They're just a few dollars. I think I got this for less than $5. The print is pretty small. It's pretty small, guys. But I like the cover. So we'll see. We'll see how I get on. They have a lot more books in this series. So if the print is okay for me, then I'll purchase more. But for now, we'll see. And it wouldn't be a vlog unless I showed you that I was baking something. I just made these banana muffins for dessert. Cereal and a book. That's your new book. The Wonky Donkey. The donkey says, hee-haw, hee-haw. You're so funny. The donkey says, hee-haw. You're so funny. Honky Donkey. The Wonky Donkey. The Wonky Donkey, cereal and a book. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So I think you were already watching a vlog, and I say I think because I'm still not sure how to edit this. It's Monday. I thought about doing a Friday reads on a Monday, but I also was kind of trying to participate in the mid-month book bash and doing a reading vlog or a vlog of the weekend. So we'll see how all of this fits together. So hi, thank you if you've made it this far in the video, if there's been a preamble to this video. And if it's the beginning of the video, then stay tuned for a reading update. I made a video, a reading update on Monday. So since then, I've finished a couple of things. I read an ebook of The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. I've read that a couple of times before. It's one of those things that I like to kind of start the new year with. And I know the new year is not that new anymore, but just kind of thinking about being intentional and not necessarily decluttering, but just trying to be a little bit more intentional with how I live, how I use our space at home, and kind of getting my head space right for making decisions about the things that we keep and the memories that we attach to things. So I wanted to read that book, not because I'm about to Marie Kondo the house, because Marie Kondo says you don't need more than 30 books. And hello, I'm not planning to get rid of most of my books. But what she says about books in her book, what she says about possessions is a real thing. You want to make space for the things that you love, the things that you treasure, the things that spark joy. And I have a lot of books on these shelves that don't spark joy for me anymore. Books that I picked up cheap when I lived in Harlem, and I'd go to the Goodwill there, and I remember there were times when you could get 10 books for $1. They'd have those awesome paperback sales, and I'd buy titles, I'd buy books just because I wanted to fill up, a count. And some of them are books that I still own and haven't read, have no intention of reading, but don't want to let go of. And Marie Kondo speaks about getting rid of some of those things maybe that you enjoyed previously, but you no longer need or want to keep in your home, to keep in your space. Saying thank you to those things for the lessons that you've gotten from them, for the pleasure that you've gotten from them, for the space that they're leaving will open up for other things. So read that book because I needed to remind myself of the life-changing magic of tidying up. So finish Marie Kondo's book. I also finished reading a book that I was buddy reading with Columbus and Rosalie, and they're not finished, but I am, so I won't talk too much about the book. We're reading Elizabeth Taylor's novel, Mrs. Palfrey at the Claremont, and it's about a woman in her 70s, I think, maybe closer to 80, and she's recently widowed, so she goes to live in a hotel. It's not a nursing home, it's not a hospital, it's not even a senior living facility. It's just that there's some older people who live at this hotel, and they're treated like long-term residents, but maybe because they're older and maybe because they pay less for their rooms, the staff don't necessarily treat them like the other daily hotel guests. So it's a little bit about the treatment that they get, how it's different from other people at different stages in their life. It's a little bit about the relationships that these people have with each other. The fact that there are more women than men, and how the relationship is different for Mrs. Palfrey as she interacts with the other women versus how she interacts with the man. And it's also a lot of commentary on aging and how people feel about themselves as they age, but also how their family members, how their relatives treat them, whether they visit them or not. And if they do visit them, how they feel about those visits, whether it is like a chore that they mark off or congratulate themselves on having done some service. And kind of how these older people, how they navigate around those social issues. And it's fun. It's a really, really well written novel, and I love it. It's my first Elizabeth Taylor, and now I want to read all her novels, so gonna look out for more of her books. And yeah, I finished that. So more on that, I guess, when my buddy readers have finished and I come back here, maybe do a little bit more of a review type video. I've also been reading this book. Haven't finished it yet because I put it down and picked up a few other things. It's a good book. On a Night Like This by Lindsay Kelk. It's really good. I like the writing. I like that this is about a woman who may have to turn away from a part of herself that may have brought her joy in the past, but no longer serves all her purposes. She may have to end a relationship that may have been good enough at some point in the past, but is no longer serving her and isn't where she wants to go in the future, is what I'm saying. So I haven't gotten far enough into this, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't spoil it for you just because I think maybe you'll want to read it at some point. So On a Night Like This by Lindsay Kelk is still on the go. I'm also still reading Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I'm reading e-copy, and I'm savoring it. The copy that I'm reading, the Kindle version, is about 576 pages, and I'm at about 450 or thereabouts. So I could like take an hour and just kind of finish it, but I'm enjoying reading this story. If you haven't read Anne of Green Gables, it's one of those books that I think you may want to just try for yourself. It is an adorable story about a girl who is unwanted, but she comes and she changes the lives of the people around her to the point where they didn't know that they needed her, but they love her. And even when they're not willing to admit it because they live very prim, austere lives, she's just such a joy to read about. I imagine that she's difficult to have her present because she gets into mischief. She doesn't plan to, she doesn't mean to, but the things that she does, they're just kind of a menace to the other people. She's a little girl and she's an orphan, and this brother and sister, older people, decide to adopt a little boy because they want a little boy to help the man, the brother, on the farm. And because of some mix-up, they end up with a little girl, and they want to send her back. At least the sister wants to send her back. And she just worms her way into their hearts. And L.M. Montgomery gives us these very imaginative stories, these fantasies that this little girl indulges in. And it's just such a joy to read. So I'm savoring it. So Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery is a book that I'm reading right now. Have been reading for a few days. And I don't know, it might take me another few days. I know there are more books in the series. I can put this down. I could finish this up and move on to another one, but I'm savoring the read. I'm also thinking about when my daughter's a little older, rereading this book with her and hopefully, sharing the joy of this story with her because it's beautiful. So that's the book that I'm reading. We went to visit my in-laws, my husband's sister and her family, and I took a book from their bookshelves. On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I started reading it there, and I planned to finish it over the visit, but then I didn't. I did other things, so I only got to page 80. So they told me, take it home. I didn't need them to insist, no, you take it. And they said, take it home, so I took it home. So I'm going to continue reading this in the next few days, and hopefully in the next update, I'll tell you more about it. So far, it's interesting. It is a young man named Sal who is, I think, in his maybe 20s, and he wants to make a living as a writer. And so he decides that he needs more life experience. And so he goes off on this cross-country trip from New York, New Jersey, all the way to California. And it's like play-by-play of his trip to California thus far. But we're only at page 80. So we've already seen the title On the Road come up a few times. So I don't know how many more times he'll be on the road and where he'll go from here. But it's really interesting. He has this kind of bromance with this guy named Dean, who is like a petty criminal. I don't know if there's another way to put it. And it's interesting how he kind of, maybe idolizes is a strong term, but he definitely looks up to this guy, what he accomplishes and how he does that. And, just kind of seeing some of these male friendships, how they are lived out on the road. So it's interesting. I've seen some really negative things said about this book on Goodreads, but you know, I'm not at the point yet where some people have been offended. But this is a book from the 1950s, and I don't know. I don't know. We'll talk more about it when I finished. But so far, I'm enjoying seeing how people lived in that time, and what it was like for a young white man making that trip. Like some of the things that he does, I know I would never have done and won't ever do because I'll never be a young white man. And some of those options just weren't available to me, even if I'd wanted to. But interesting. I'm interested in this. So if you've read On the Road by Jack Kerouac, tell me what you think. You won't spoil it. By the time you leave a comment, I'll probably be done because I think I'm going to try to finish this today. So yeah, those are the books that I have been reading. I've finished Marie Kondo's book. I finished Mrs. Palfrey at the Claremont, and I am still reading Anne of Green Gables, still reading On the Road by Jack Kerouac, and still reading On a Night Like This. And I'm going to be picking up another book that I need to review in the next few days, Her Secret War by Pam Leckie. So that will probably come in my next update. So yeah, that's what I've been reading. Would love to chat with you in the comments down below. Let me know what you've been reading, what you've been enjoying. If you have recommendations for me, let's chat about that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. We'll be back soon with another video. And until then, happy reading. Bye.